So we talk about elections, right? And I want to talk about elections from the early 1920s. And I have to say, would be this is an opportunity for us to create together because I don't think I have done enough research. But in the 20s, you had a sort of elections. This was the elections for the Legislative Council in British Guyana. As I would have shared in my last video, that the legislature, which is an arm of government, their responsibility is to make the law. So this council had similar responsibility. Added to that, they had to ensure that the best interests of the British was being represented. So when it came to the small man, there was no representation. As a matter of fact, they were poorly represented. It was just like, you exist, but you don't exist at the same time. If a local person, like a Guyanese, like a blonde hair, pearl hair, they wanted to contest to be an unofficial member of this legislative council, the process was hard. You had to do a test. So they had check your education, blah blah blah, which was rigid. You had to own property, you had to get money. So if you know it's a broke pocket, you couldn't contest. You also had to ensure that you were within doing certain professions. So not any and everybody could have gone. To make matters worse, the registration period was also very, very short. So this council was made up of 14 elected members and you had 10 nominated members. Of course, those nominated members will come from who? The British, because the Legislative Council represented the what? The British. Again, the working class, they couldn't vote. They were excluded entirely from that. Back then, the voting system that was used was the first past the post system. And this is a system that basically says whichever man got the most votes, whichever party got the most votes, they win all the seats. So that is what used to happen in past. So more than likely, the British can send the people, they can be represented well because the working class can't vote. So the British gonna end up in the position of rulership again, of of control of the legislative council.